I follow a lot of those, like the Fandom Menace, which basically it's interesting how bad The Last Jedi was. It spawned a whole new genre of entertainment.
It's amazing.
Now that's a movie people don't like.
Now there's a film that people can get behind not liking.
Exactly, because you have all these people. I mean, Mauler and all those. You can. There's so many of them, but
yeah,
certain ones you can tell.
I like Mauler's videos.
I listened to them argue about The Mandalorian for 4 hours yesterday. I had other thing. I
try not to listen to their live streams too much, but I have in the past. But
that's a good one though.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian, because they had one guy that's for it and basically 3 against, and they went back and forth on every detail. I think they streamed for like 10 hours and they only got through 5 episodes. They still have 3 to go.
I've seen them live for over 24 hours before.
It's good. People should be out there doing that. I fully support that. And
we'll get there eventually, Gabe. Eventually we're going to do a live stream, and it's going to be a 4-hour live stream. But first we need to have at least one fan.
When that fan gets here, that'll be nice. We could take super chats from him.
Yeah.
And we won't answer any other questions unless they do another super chat.
That's right.
But so like Mauler and those guys, I see them as purists because they don't seem to care. They will call out people in their chat and say, no, you're wrong. But there's others that they'll look around the internet for articles that go along with this line of thinking, and they've commodified it. They made it into a business.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They look at everything from that angle. So a lot of these, like some of the things I heard about Star Trek, aren't as bad as I thought.
But you jump into a camp, and as soon as you jump into the camp, you shut off a part of your mind that is able to call out people in your camp for being assholes. You should be able to at any time, no matter who you are. You should be able to Steve Jobs people. Right? Steve Jobs will be your best friend when you're doing the right thing. But even if you just had a wonderful conversation with Steve Jobs and you think you're on good terms, and then you do something that is completely out of the sort of direction that the company is going, and he will bite your face off immediately.
Right.
You cannot be friends with that person in that context. And so a good critic, a good commentator is someone who can say, yeah, I agree with you on that. And then you say another thing and they say, that's stupid. And that's how it should be. That's what I like.
Yeah, so getting into the specifics of that with Star Trek.
All right, we're talking about Star Trek.
Yeah, we could probably go back. Oh boy!
But you did it.
Mike
you
Soklasa probably got a disturbance in the force when you said that.
Yeah. Well, you did a nice segue there. I appreciate that.
No problem. I try to make your show nice and smooth and wonderful. All the edges sanded down. But what I was going to say is, going into this, I'm kind of a Fandom Menace guy. I like most of what they have to say, even though I can see that they're cherry-picking things sometimes. But so I heard that this new Star Trek was going to be an absolute disaster of PC politics and whatnot. I can see little things that they're referencing as far as politics. I think I can see them, but I don't think that's not my problem with the show. More of my problem with the show is that I don't really care. I think it's a little boring. The first episode I really disliked. The second episode was better.
Yeah.
I guess we can get into the specifics of the episodes, but talking specifically about people hating it for the politics, I guess there was that Rey syndrome of there's an all-powerful girl who doesn't know who she is. Everybody keeps telling me they know me. Well,
then they blow her up, so luckily.
That's true, but there's another one, and then it doesn't really matter. Anybody that dies is actually not dead, just like in Star Wars.
Well, that's a fair point. I don't yet feel deeply emotionally connected to the show, but then again, it's only been 2 episodes, and so I didn't feel deeply emotionally connected to Mandalorian, and I guess I still don't. It's still kind of light, but I did enjoy it the more it went on. I think one of the issues with it is that it's a little overcomplicated in the way that they've contrived the basic premise. They've added too many elements, and I think that part of it creates a little bit of maybe it'll come over time.
I don't mind the elements, but I don't like the way they're revealing the elements. It's like too expository, like with the people like they're trying to find out who the girl is in the second episode with they're going through the computer or whatever, and they're like, and then this and this means this and this and this, and it could have just been them saying this and this and this and this. It would have meant the same thing to me. Right. I don't care about all that.
Right. They focus too much on the minutia and less on the feelings of the actors. Right. They should focus on developing the character of Picard as an old man. So there was a critique of him being sort of the Luke Skywalker became an old man, and it kind of the same sort of thing. I don't think that's true. Mike from Red Letter Media said that Picard wouldn't have this feeling about Data, wouldn't respect and love Data. But I disagree because he's very old now. He's no longer in the role of a captain. When he was biting off Data's head earlier in the show, in Next Generation,
right?
He had to do that, but he can still.
Right, and I mean, he had that whole. I know it was maybe just because of his ethics, but there's that classic one about him going to court, for Data for his rights,
right,
as a sovereign individual.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean they're best friends, but they got along. The other important thing I think to remember would be that this is the Kelvin timeline,
right,
which I like because that means it separates good Star Trek Next Generation from bad. That means all those movies exist in the J.J. Abrams verse. Isn't that nice?
That's very interesting.
Now you can throw them away.
Right. Yeah, you can put them in a side canon if you want to.
Right, which is the shittier one. Like this one is
it's
where Picard's
the diet.
Yeah.
Well, no, I like Diet Coke.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, with a nice sandwich and some chips.
I like Coke Zero more than Diet Coke myself, but
I worked at Target. I used to get a certain sandwich, and a Diet Coke tasted better with it than a regular Coke, and it was my go-to for a couple weeks.
Nothing wrong with that.
Just so everyone knows that.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's nice that this Kelvinverse thing takes those terrible movies away from Next Generation, and now because anything that they do with old Picard that goes against what he did. What's the classic episode at the end of TNG? Time and Again or something?
All Good Things.
All Good Things, yeah. I mean, that's the perfect ending to the show.
Beautiful.
Because it goes everything with Q, Picard's relationship with him. It's a little bit over the top as far as how epic it is,
it's
encapsulating all of existence.
It's a dope episode.
It's dope, and it ties everything together, and it still has him being back on the Vineyard. But if you do anything that's aside from that, you're ruining the perfect TNG.
Yeah.
So it's nice. I like this clean separation of this is J.J. Abrams.
There's a perforated line between the two universes.
One of them has Jean-Luc Picard being a smart, intelligent individual, settling things with Q, and the other one is like a madman with a machine gun, screaming like a monkey.
I don't think that's what he is, though. I mean, that's what he was in the movies, but I don't yet see that's what he's becoming.
This is the movie verse because
I
was tying this back to his relationship with Data. His relationship with Data was pretty close in those movies. He was like his go-to guy, and Data sacrificed himself in the fourth movie, right? Nemesis?
Yeah, right.
Which is what they're always referencing. So these are very clearly coming off of those movies' relationship with Data.
Yes. That was Brent Spiner's precondition for coming back as Data. He said, I will come back so long as you don't undo Data's sacrifice in the films. It has to be part of the story. That was his precondition. He wasn't going to come back otherwise.
It makes things neater. I don't like those movies, but it makes things neat.
I don't like the movies either. But so far, I enjoy the show in the sense that I thought it was going to be all a lot of action focused on sort of the action elements of Star Trek and not the ideas. I think they're starting to build into ideas. The pace has been reasonably slow. I think the stuff with the Federation, where there's an undercover person operative in the higher levels of the Federation, that's happened before in old Star Trek. That's nothing new.
Yeah, that's what I was
thinking.
There's
nothing crazy about that. I'm fine with it. I think it's cool. They did that with aliens. The whole upper echelon of Starfleet was run by a bunch of worm aliens, and they sat around a table eating grubs.
Specifically, Rich's criticism was that it didn't do the optimistic Star Wars universe. Not Star Wars. I'm sorry, Star Trek universe. But that's they've done the same thing in TNG, like you said.
Yeah.
There have been plenty of bad admirals, plenty of rotten things.
Most admirals are bad in TNG.
Yeah, they're usually the
antagonists. Yeah, they're either difficult or they're demanding or they're doing some secret op that they won't tell others about, like the one with Riker where they were going back to find they were doing shield technology secretly, and cloak technology secretly, and it was one of the generals that came back and commanded Riker not to tell Picard and almost broke up their bromance.
I wish I had more to say about that, but it sounds true.